Okay, today is June 2nd, 2019. To tell you the truth, May was probably the wettest, coldest May in Eagle Mountain that I've experienced in the 5 or 6 years that I've been here. So today's update in the underground greenhouse will actually be an update for me as well, because I have been doing major projects this whole week around the yard. So as we go through and check things out, I'll be learning what's happening as well. Okay, so you got a zucchini plant here, and another zucchini plant over here. Here's the sunflower that one of my daughters got at school. And then of course, we've got our beautiful lilikoi tree here that's growing really nice. And then of course we got this cabbage, which was another daughter's school project. We've put that in a larger pot now. Okay, here's the plants that we planted on March 31st this year. They're not doing so well in here, which probably means I should get them out to the garden as soon as possible. And then of course here are the ones that we planted 2 weeks later. And same thing, I just need to get all these plants out into the garden. You can see here the carrots are doing really, really good. We did this experiment 2 years ago and didn't have this type of luck, so I'm kind of guessing the colder weather has helped. And then these are the plants that I purchased. You can see we got a little flower here, which means we need to get these things outside as soon as possible. You can see here as well, you got some fruit going. For whatever reason, the cantaloupe died. I'm wondering if we just got too wet, if we drowned it. So, and then if we come look at the other lilikoi tree, right here you can see it's grown quite a bit since we last checked in on it. So, doing well there. Next, we're checking in on the peach tree that we actually transplanted from outside. It wasn't growing outside. So, we brought it here in the greenhouse where we protected from the elements a little bit better. And you can see, like right here, you got a little peach growing, and it actually have a little bit bigger peach right here. So this will probably produce fruit for the first time. So the greenhouse was a good move for that one. Of course, we can come over here and look at the orange tree. And if you look up near the top here, you will see that there's new growth up there. That is always good. Hey, checking in on our grapefruit tree. I'm still kind of worried about this tree because I haven't seen any real new growth this year. And the leaves have some of the lower leaves especially, have turned kind of yellow like that. And so we're gonna keep an eye on that guy. And then here we are in our peach tree. This thing is loving life in the greenhouse. And this is the one that's producing a bunch of peaches for us. And so if you come here, you can see our peaches are getting bigger and bigger. Then our little orange tree here, this is the little one that's kind of trapped behind the peach tree. But you can see we got some new growth up here. That's great to see. And then you can come over here to our lemon tree. Unfortunately, on those first 4 citrus trees, we're not seeing any signs of potential fruit yet. And then here on the lime tree, once again, this is that crooked little tree we've been trying to straighten out and get going. You can see we've got new growth here, which is good. And we also have some little fruits appearing on here. So we're really, really hoping that this one gives us some limes this year. So really, I need to get all those vegetable plants out of the greenhouse and into the garden right away. I'm kind of slacking on that. I need to put that ahead of every other project this week and just get that one done. So I guess we'll head out and check out the garden real quick, and then that should be it for the day. So as you can see, the rhubarb is definitely ready to be picked. Of course, you can see the walking onions there are getting huge and looking super good. Matter of fact, I've never seen them look so good. And then, of course, you look at our little spaghetti squash plants here. Well, they're still alive, so that's good. Like I said, it was a really cold, wet week again last week, so hopefully they hang in there. Okay, so the last thing we're gonna do is go check in on our apple and peach trees. I haven't even looked at them, so I have no clue if we're having any success out here or not. So I'll flip the camera around and we'll see what's happening. Okay, so this is the peach tree that we just transplanted. It's looking a little beat up, but it's looking like it's going to survive, so that's good. If we come across over here and look at this other peach tree, this is the one that's been out here for a couple of years now. And it also looks like it's doing well. I can't tell. It looks like we're getting some little fruits. You can see a little one right here. So this one should give us some peaches this year. Yeah, you can see there's a couple there as well. So looks like peaches are going good here. Okay, so now we'll check in on our apple trees. We've got this is our biggest, best, strongest apple tree. And it bloomed really early this year, and we had a bit of a late freeze. So I actually just walked around this tree and I didn't really see too many fruit that are growing. So this might not even produce anything for us this year. And of course, if you look at our second best apple tree right over here, we have the same problem. It bloomed early and then we had a late freeze. So I don't know if we can get any fruit out of this one as well. Interestingly, when you look at the new apple trees that I planted last year, they bloomed late. You can see there's still blooms. It's June 2nd. And this thing is covered with what should turn into fruit. And of course, if you come over to the other one, it looks even better than that one. You can see on this one, same thing. It's got blooms everywhere. Matter of fact, you can even see little apples starting to appear. So we're definitely gonna get apples this year, but not from the two trees that we expected. Okay, so this is some bonus footage. Today's actually June 3rd, the day after my normal weekly update. I'm almost done planting the rest of the garden, and I kind of wanted to show you one of the things I'm doing. Behind me, you can see I've got my little tomato plants planted. And one of the things people love to hear about is my weed-free gardens. So I'm gonna kind of show you an under the soil look of what I'm doing here, because when you plant tomatoes, the weed-free garden is only a couple inches thick. So I want to show you how I got these guys installed, and also show you what it looks like under the soil. Okay, so this is the weed-free garden. You can see there's only about 6 or 8 inches of soil right through here. And then this is actually 2x4s. So you can see there's 2x4s, and I have them running this way. And then of course you can see with the wire cage, I can't stick it into the ground because it's not that thick. And I don't want to poke holes through the plastic. There's actually a plastic sheet underneath here. So, so I had to bend, you can see I bent the wire, and then I'll take this brick right here and put the brick on top of this. And hopefully that will hold the weight of the tomato plant as it gets bigger. If you want to hear more about my weed-free garden, you'll have to check out my other video on how I made this. Okay, so I finished planting the garden this morning, so I'm gonna flip the camera around and just show you what I've done real quick, and we'll track this throughout the year. Okay, on garden box number 1 here, you can see we've planted the zucchini right here, those 2 bushes. And then of course we have our sunflower here, and we have 3 spaghetti squash plants over here. And then if you move on through, you'll see I planted the dead cantaloupe bush here. We're gonna hope that that actually recovers by some miracle. And then we've got 3 little watermelon plants. Back there we have 2 pumpkins. And then of course in this little section here, you can see the tiny little ones and the 2 big ones at the back. We've got the peppers. So I left a little space here, you can see. That's, if we wanna add a few things in the future, we can put those in there. And also you'll notice we do not have the drip line hooked up yet. And I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. So we already talked about garden box number 2, but you can see I've got 3 tomato plants there, 2 cherry tomatoes and 1 regular tomato. And then of course you can check in here on the lettuce and the spinach. And the spinach is about to go to seed, and I'll just leave that there and let the seeds fall back into the soil and do it again. Okay, so going back to how we're gonna water these plants, last year I used this guy and just watered the whole thing with it. This next year, I'm gonna put a drip line like I did in the strawberries. So if you look right here, you can see this piece here that comes off the hose bib, and it waters each one individually. And the hope is that number 1, I will use less water, but number 2, get less bugs, especially the squash bugs, because the squash bugs destroyed everything last year. So I guess that's it for this week's update, and next week we'll show you how the garden's doing. Thanks for watching, we'll see ya.